Welcome to CosmoFactory, a podcast by Cosmoprof Worldwide Bologna, where we explore the entire cosmetics, personal care, and fragrance industry supply chain. I'm your host, Deanna Utrusky, and here at CosmoFactory, we look beyond the trends to discover the ideas, initiatives, and innovations that are truly advancing beauty. Let's get started. This episode is about ingredient R&D. It's about contract manufacturing and upstream vertical integration. It's about cross-industry knowledge and technology transfer. And it's about reimagining how beauty makers can create continuity for their B2B partners and for B2C consumers. Joining me now in the CosmoFactory recording booth here at Cosmopac in Bologna, Italy, is Eugenio Niccolini, CEO at Verel. Eugenio, welcome to CosmoFactory.
Thank you very much for having me and for pronouncing my name so well. Not common, not easy.
No, that's kind of you. I'm so glad you're here. Verel is a contract manufacturing company. You've been CEO for a little over a year. And one of the most remarkable changes that you've initiated at Verel is the creation and staffing of an in-house ingredient development lab. Help us understand what you're building. What did your facilities look like in years past, and what are you adding now?
Fantastic. Verel, is a contract manufacturing that has been around for more than 40 years. So great know-how, great production facility. We fell in love. But for the first time, we saw that manufacturing all this technology, these machineries, is a 7,000 square meter facility. So not huge, but quite remarkable. And we bought the company 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we had immediately this vision of bringing ingredients inside because this is our background. When I say we, it's me and Gianpaolo. Gianpaolo is a senior person. He's 65. He's a serial entrepreneur in the food tech space, especially in developing functional raw materials, functional ingredients for the food industry. He has launched 3 companies in that field, very well successes. The first one was acquired by Christian Hansen, the second one by Firmenich, and the last one by Invest Industrial. I'm telling this because we come from the food industry field, 40 years of great experience in producing raw materials in the food industry.
Very significant credential.
Yes, no, it's very important to say that because it's not common at all for a contract manufacturer to go in the ingredients field. It's a very different business. So I think it's very important to stress that we come from there.
Mm-hmm. But I want to think more about why ingredients. You know, in cosmetics, the raw material and ingredient companies really are in a sector of their own. Of course, serving manufacturers, but there are only a few exceptions. Most product manufacturers do not develop or sell ingredients. Why is this a good idea?
Well, for sure, we will never go into the production of commodities. This is obviously not even an idea or even a possibility. So we will focus on specialties, and we believe that we really can add value there. We can have something to say, some innovative technology to bring, and I think this significantly impacts the whole business because you're not only... The last thing we want to be perceived as Verel is a tube filler. Okay, so simply manufacturer. We want to be a lot of attention to the development, to the R&D of the product itself. So being able to master, to develop your own ingredient, to master the technology, to take the tests on the ingredients, to claim, to check the claims against the facts. You know, we have to convince ourselves before inserting in a product. I think this also, and we can see that already with the clients that we currently have, with the clients that we are currently talking to, prospects. They are very, very interested in this. They see a real value add in having a manufacturer, which is also brings a strong technological, let's say, knowledge in terms of ingredients. And it's very important for us to also find the client that really understands the technology, and so that it's also able to transfer that to the finished customer, and that's the perfect match.
Yeah.
Of course, I have to say this because otherwise we will look like crazy. We tested a lot of our ingredients in cosmetics products before entering the market and before acquiring Verel. So we are convinced that this is a really good strategy, and this is our bet.
It's interesting there. You're pointing out that having the ingredient development in-house almost adds a new layer of confidence to the clinical testing data, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's essential. I mean, essential. We come from the food industry, and the food industry is very strict around claims.
Sure.
You really need to prove what you're saying in any different category. So we are working very closely with the University of Parma. Gianpaolo has been working for 15 years with the University of Parma, which is really, really well equipped. Great team, great equipment. So we are always testing ourselves, our ingredients, before, let's say, going out there in the market. And I think that this approach, and very scientific-driven approach that we have from the food, is and will be more and more appreciated also in the cosmetics. We don't need to insert our ingredients into the products that Verel will sell. This is just a value add, no? And it's very important that our two teams, R&D, are working on the same, let's say, 500 square meters together, because we are going to work on the raw materials that the market needs. No? So the formulator will come to us with ideas. We say, look, this raw material would be nice to be able to replace it in this application, and every application will be different. And we're going, and that's the fun part, You're going
it's
back.
Inspiring.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
You go, it's challenging. We like that, and we go back and forward with the technologies, with the raw materials that you have at disposition. You study, and you come out with some solutions. And so it's a value add, and just a last point, we will never be able to absorb all the production of the ingredients that we are doing, so we are also very open, very keen to cooperate with other manufacturers by selling the ingredients themselves.
And I want to stick with this topic of ingredient development and maybe sourcing as well. Can you share an example of one of the company's ingredients? You've already developed some, yes.
Yeah, of course. The first ingredients that we are focusing in Verel are actives from botanical, let's say, sources. And we have, let's say, this technology inside that has been developed together with the University of Parma. The Professor Gabriele Costantino, who's the head of the pharma department, which is quite big in Parma. Parma University, has been working for 4 years together with one of his best students, which is Chiara Spaggiari, that has done a PhD on this technology. And they, let's say, developed both the technology and the processes, able to extract the principal active. And it's a very, let's say, innovative way to extract the raw materials. It's very gentle. It's a cold extraction, no chemicals, no heat. And this enables to, let's say, preserve the active principles that you want to have as a raw material. And of course, we have developed already 30, 40 actives. And this is quite new. I mean, we are developing for this for last months, and we have invested, of course, in some tests. As I mentioned, we need to claim the facts against the claims before we go outside and presenting ingredients and presenting products. The first ingredients, as an example, is a safflorescence, which is from the saffron flower.
Yes.
So it's a byproduct, and we discovered that it has a great functionality. It's really has a protection to UV stress functionality. We test also in vivo, and we saw great, let's say, results, minus 15% wrinkle depth versus placebo. These are remarkable results for a natural ingredient. Another example is Bergolux. We're not extracting from the bergolux the fruit, but from the leaves. And also in this case, it has a very, very nice, let's say, functionality. They have a serotonin activation. We tested that in vitro, and this increased a lot the skin vitality, the skin elasticity. And this is really, let's say, the first two that we decided to invest a bit more into the test. We are allocating a lot of budget in let's say, testing these products and validating them. And this is the first step.
Yeah.
This is one of the areas that we're going to develop.
Wonderful. No, that's all very helpful.
Maybe what I could add here is that we are also working a lot on the supply chain, because of course we are treating any type of let's say sourcing. We source from everywhere in the world. We are, let's say, working very well with Fairwild, which is a certification, which is a very nice let's say certification. We have been working with Fairwild. We are certified with Fairwild as a manufacturer of these raw materials. We source from, let's say, their affiliates, but we also worked with an Italian company, which is an estate in Tuscany, 600 hectares of wild, let's say, nature, and we are studying that. We have already certified this area with Fairwild. We have identified already 10 different botanicals to study. We are starting, let's say, studying what the plant could express. And when you understand what's inside the plant, you can try to, let's say, manage the extraction process, extracting exactly what you would like for a certain functionality. So this is very exciting for us, and we're looking forward to that.
I love it. I love it. And listeners know that I'm very passionate about ingredient development science, so I'll have to stay in touch for sure, because I can't wait to see what you discover and develop there. I'm thinking, from where I sit, having a portfolio of ingredients in-house, it seems like it could help build trust with your customer partners, especially in terms of shortcutting traceability challenges, and of course the clinical data that we pointed to earlier. But do you have comments here? Do you have maybe feedback from any of your partners that could help us understand how this sort of initiative is being received?
Yeah, it's really well received. It's really well received, and having these, let's say, in-house ingredients, of course, it has also, of course, also a price impact, because if we have to buy actives from outside, it's different. So we are able to be competitive, but also what we really like, what we're experiencing with some customers, specific customers, big customers that really understands our value and our R&D, and it's a pleasure to work with these players to develop also raw materials ad hoc for them, from what's their message, what's their brand, what they really want to bring to their customer, the product, and this is great. So we can develop a single ingredient or a combination of them, a system that could go across the entire line. It's really this is what excites us the most, and we see a very, very positive feedback from the customers so far.
No, and I love what you just mentioned, developing something for a particular customer partner that will create its own sort of continuity throughout their product line, throughout different product categories. Perhaps they will make the same sort of benefit claims in product categories that maybe haven't been connected. I've seen some of your finished good prototypes, and I know you're also doing that with sort of the same fragrance profile across perhaps oral care and skincare, categories that maybe don't always match in the consumer experience. And for me, I'm fairly conceptual, and I feel like this will help with brand loyalty, help with application experience, but in some way also create more of a connection between the consumer and the product origin. Like I feel like there's a sensitivity to this, product prototype concept that you have. Can you just talk about some of the product collections that you're showcasing right now?
Yeah, of course. So it's important to say also that Verel was very strong when we bought it in oral care.
Okay.
So which is I must say I didn't know much about it.
It's very niche, very personal care.
Yeah, exactly. But it's we were very this the previous owner developed really interesting natural, let's say, concepts, formulation, which are really a great success. And we entered into the oral care, and it's really fascinating. And we thought, how can we, let's say, make oral care cool? Because it is, I tell you. The perception is not always there, and we tried to play around a bit about this concept, bringing the kind of skincare culture, the skinification of the oral care. So what you mentioned is exactly right. We brought this hybrid collection, which includes oral care and skincare in one single beauty routine. 4 products for oral care, 4 products for skincare. We use the same fragrance, let's say, fragrance and scent to uniform and to also elevate, the oral care. routine. We brought some ingredients from the skincare to the oral care. So, as an example, hyaluronic acid, chica, that has actual a functionality. Of course, we're not adding just for the marketing, but with proven functionality. And this is a fun exercise, you know. We had we're gonna mention a few, like the Chica and Chica Clear toothpaste, which is has a very interesting, let's say, transparent texture, which is something new. It's something fun and something that I must say has been very, very well appreciated by the customer and by the players that pass through our booth and experience that, you know. And then the mouthwash, the mouth foaming toner. So we try to kind of think around the mouthwash, but with a skincare concept.
Right, a little reinvention.
Yeah, a little reinvention is always fun and is always, let's say, catchy, you know, and a new way to see it. The third step is a teeth serum, so that replicates like a kind of a lip gloss packaging. So looking at the makeup,
right, and the application method matching, a different category. That's very nice.
Yeah. So and then there is the lip balm, which is the kind of a bridge between the oral care to the skin care, and I could go on, but this is we try to play it around a bit.
Yeah, no, that definitely helps us understand what you're creating. And Eugenio, I have to say, you know, there are times in our industry when it's easy to get caught up in business as usual. What you've shared with us today is a very helpful reminder that there are always new ways to approach ingredients and formulation, and certainly new opportunities in the cosmetics industry. I thank you for being my guest here today on CosmoFactory.
Thank you very much. It was great talking with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for listening. If you find the CosmoFactory podcast useful, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review and share your thoughts so even more cosmetic industry professionals can discover the CosmoFactory. I'm Deanna Utrusky. Please join me again next Tuesday for a new episode of the CosmoFactory podcast.